Helga case study. Cognitive behavior approach with an emphasis on rational emotive behavior therapy. Helga is a 36-year-old woman who was born and raised in Germany. In 1996, Helga moved from Germany to the United States after the death of her parents. Helga moved to New Jersey with her maternal aunt, Arabella, and her husband, Christoph, who had 4 children. Helga states that she never got along with her aunt and family. After moving, Helga spent time in mental institutions because of deep depression, marked feelings of worthlessness, and several attempts to kill herself. She relates that she has never felt at home since she left Germany, but that there is nothing there for her to return to. After being released from the institution, she received her GED and began taking classes at Atlantic Cape Community College, where she met her husband Mason. They were married within a year and welcomed their first child just 2 years later. After 15 years of marriage, Helga and Mason got a divorce, and she lost the custody of her 3 children and her home. After the divorce, she moved back into her Aunt Arabella's home. Helga frequently mentions how lonely and isolated she feels because she has no friends in her life, no intimate relationships, and she feels a deep sense of rejection. Although Helga has been out of the last institution for over a year, she is an outpatient and comes to the day treatment center on a regular basis. In Helga's first session, she said, "I just dread getting up every morning. Everything seems like such a chore. I'm afraid that anything I will do will turn to failure. I see no real sense in going on. I have constant thoughts of ending my life. I'm surely no use to anyone around me. I couldn't hold a husband or any job, and then I lost my kids. I just feel so worthless and rotten and full of guilt and hate for myself. No matter what I do or try, I just can't see any light at the end of that long, dark, cold, scary tunnel. I look forward to death because then I won't have to suffer anymore."
We chose REBT because it helps change a person's thoughts, emotions, and behaviors. Helga has experienced various traumatic events in her life that led her to form very irrational beliefs about herself. What you will see is my second session with Helga, where she shares about the bad week she had. Her aunt has been pushing her to look for a job and start to move her life in a positive direction. Helga is offended by her aunt's suggestions and sees them as evidence that her aunt sees her as a failure. She is afraid of losing the relationship she has with her aunt, as she believes it is the last one she has left, and losing this relationship will label her as no good. Using the ABCDEF framework, I will identify her activating event as her aunt suggesting that she look for a job, which leads to her irrational belief that without the relationship she has with her aunt, she is no good, and the consequence is that she feels worthless and rejected. I will be using a disputing intervention to demonstrate that her beliefs are in fact irrational and replacing them with healthier, more proportionate to the actual events. REBT leaves room for the therapist to teach the client about his or her irrational beliefs and challenges them to replace them with more rational beliefs. The goal of the therapist is for the client to walk away with an unconditional acceptance of themselves, others, and the world. 2 of the therapeutic techniques used by REBT therapists and used in my session with Helga include doing cognitive homework that the client can complete on her own, and changing one's language so that the absolutes are replaced with words and thoughts that accurately describe events and their meaning. Furthermore, REBT therapists use emotive techniques such as imagery and role-playing to aid clients in thinking about the worst-case scenario and allowing therapists to adjust the direction of clients' thinking and behaving.
REBT therapy also uses behavioral techniques, which include operant conditioning, self-management principles, system desensitization, relaxation techniques, and modeling. By completing homework assignments outside of the therapy room, the work may be even more valuable and exposes the client to more opportunities.
see you again.
Hi, it's nice to see you too.
How has everything been since the last time we met?
Well, not that great. I couldn't finish the homework you gave me. It was just a really bad week.
Okay, so tell me more about that. What happened this week?
Well, Arabella was really attacking me all week. She made me feel so worthless. She's been on my ass about getting a job, and she just doesn't understand how I feel every time I try. I mean, I go to look for one, but then I find myself with no motivation and no energy. It's just weighing me down.
Okay, well, let's start with what it is that you do want and then work towards that. We don't want to work on something that isn't important to you. So, is finding a job of any interest to you?
Yeah, of course. But even if I applied for a job, I wouldn't get it.
Okay, well, we don't know that with 100% certainty. However, if you did apply to one and didn't get it, would that be the worst thing?
I mean, no. But if I didn't get a job, I wouldn't be successful and I wouldn't be able to leave my aunt's house. And then I would be a total failure.
Okay, so it sounds like you're catastrophizing not getting one job and generalizing it with never getting any job. It would certainly be disappointing and maybe a little frustrating, but those irrational beliefs of being worthless and the failure aren't appropriate or proportion to you not getting a job. There's no harm in trying.
It's just that I know I won't get hired. I mean, regardless of how much I want it.
Okay, well, what are you doing now to get you closer to what you want? You might as well try. If you don't try, you're guaranteed to not get a job. But if you do try, there's some possibility that you might.
I mean, okay, I guess that makes sense. I'll try tonight and see what I get.
Great. I can't wait to hear how it goes, but I want to go back to something you said earlier. You mentioned that your aunt was attacking you and made you feel worthless. You know, no one can make you feel anything. It really sounds like you've come to a lot of conclusions about yourself based on your aunt. When she gets on your case about not being as proactive as she would want you to be, what do you think she's implying?
Well, my aunt sees me as a good-for-nothing person and just a general waste of her time. The proof is in the pudding, okay? My husband cheated on me and then left me. I lost my kids, my job. I have no home and I don't have any friends. I lost them too. So my aunt is right. I am a waste of people's time. Who the hell would want to be around me if I'm such a failure?
Okay, well, did your aunt tell you that you were a good-for-nothing person and a waste of people's time?
Well, no, but I know how she feels, the way she treats me and talks down to me. I know that.
Well, we don't know she does, but for the sake of argument, let's say she does, then what would happen?
Even though she's always putting me down, she's the only person in my life that I still have a relationship with. So if I lost her too, then I'd really be alone and then I'd really have no one.
Okay, well, it looks like we've just identified your irrational belief that you must maintain a relationship with your aunt. Otherwise, you would then be completely alone and isolated and ultimately no good.
Yeah, I guess.
Okay, well, it sounds more like your feelings are not proportioned to this situation. I can understand where you wouldn't want to hinder the relationship you have with your aunt, but if you did, it wouldn't make you an unworthy person. It might be disappointing, inconvenient, and maybe even a little scary not to depend on your aunt for support. However, it doesn't label you as a failure or unworthy. Does that sound more like what you're feeling?
Yeah, actually, I guess that does make a lot more sense.
Okay, so let's replace those thoughts with something more in line with what's really happening. We can do that by changing your language, and then I'll leave you with some homework for our next session. You mentioned that you believe your aunt sees you as a good-for-nothing person and a complete waste of her time. If that were true, would she have taken you in and continued to encourage you to get a job to improve your circumstance? Does that sound like something someone does for a worthless failure?
No, actually, I guess not. I guess I just really have to change the way that I see things.
Right, so let's try that out as your homework for this week. Every time your aunt approaches you about job opportunities, keep that thought in mind. If she saw you as worthless and a waste of time, she wouldn't be supporting you in her home and pushing you to get a job.
Yeah, that sounds right. I guess I'm willing to try that.
Great.